Welcome to Awesome, and as usual, welcome to free contents from Awesome. They are free for everyone who have access to the internet, and mainly YouTube. They are available on YouTube. So welcome to have access to those valuable things in trading. And today we are going to introduce a very new thing. It's not actually very new, but a very advanced thing, and mainly in Fibonacci tool. I think everybody knows about the Fibonacci tool. So we're going to introduce advanced contents on Fibonacci tool. But now, before we go any far, remember our homepage here is Awesome Forex International. So what you're supposed to do here is to click those active buttons right there. We have those links to our social media, so you can click this for LITEFOREX, you can click another one for Telegram, for Facebook, then we have Instagram and Twitter. So we have those major buttons there that everybody's supposed to click before going anywhere. So for those who are using computers, actually they have access to those buttons. For those who are using phones, they cannot access those buttons. Tablets, I think they can have access. So you may try to see if they work on tablets and other devices. And also make sure that you subscribe to this channel, because contents are free, but a fee that you're supposed to pay is to subscribe, and another fee is to like, another fee is to put your comment, and also you have to share the contents. Therefore, those are what we call the fees, because you have not paid anything to have access to this content. So what you're supposed to do is to show cooperation by doing those things: subscribing, sharing, like, and then putting the comment and other things. So now let's go straight to our concepts, and today our concept is from Fibonacci. It is Fibonacci trading setup, and mainly it's from what we call the advanced concept in Fibonacci. We have the advanced concept in Fibonacci. Everybody knows what is Fibonacci, how to play with the Fibonacci tool, everybody knows. So today we are going to dig deeper. We are going to see in detail what are those Fibonacci things. And now mainly this concept here is, yes, it's like a summary, but it is going to be in detail. Actually, it's not a summary like that, but it's like a summary which was summarized on October 2019. It was on 2019 when those contents were prepared. So now, welcome to advanced Fibonacci. Now, in short, everybody knows a Fibonacci tool, which is among the discoveries by Leonardo Fibonacci. Leonardo Fibonacci discovered a Fibonacci tool. So now those discoveries, they are applicable in various environments. And now the major environment where we apply Fibonacci tool is on trading, but they are existing in most of the natural systems. Many natural systems, they obey various Fibonacci sequences. So we can have things like retracements, extensions, and other things, the Fibonacci fans, Fibonacci cycles, or anything else. Yeah, there are many things there that various natural systems actually they respect. So now we are going to see the idea on Fibonacci levels. Therefore, our main idea today will be on the Fibonacci levels, whereby we will discuss things like the golden ratios. I think one of the major things on the Fibonacci, things like the golden ratios. So now let's go to the whiteboard in order to have access to the major concepts from Fibonacci tool. So now the discovery by Fibonacci. Now I'm reminding you, just because I'm sure that everybody have an idea about the Fibonacci sequence. Now the Fibonacci sequence is obtained by taking 0 and 1. Now they start. Now it begins by taking 0 and 1, whereby 0 is the first number, then 1 is the second number. Now we can write them in this way. Maybe we can write them in this way. We have 0 as the first number, then we have 1 as the second number. Now the sequence goes on. It goes on. So now how you will identify the next number in a sequence? The next number is obtained by taking now the previous number, the previous two numbers. You add up the previous two numbers. Now taking 0 plus 1, now the next number will be 1. then taking those previous two numbers here, 1 plus 1, the next will be number 2. Then the next number here will be 2 plus 1, which will be 3. Now the series goes on and on. Series goes on and on. So this is what we call the Fibonacci sequence. This is what we call the Fibonacci sequence. I think today something will be different, whereby you can hear this pen. You can hear this pen. I think you hear this pen. You hear this pen. Now you hear this because today I'm using an internal microphone. I'm not using an external as how I used to do every day. There's a problem with an external microphone, and I think if you listen clearly, my last recording was not so clear. The audio was not so clear. That's why today I have skipped using the external microphone and I'm using the internal, where the problem with the internal is you will hear the sound of my screen pen. You hear the sound of my screen pen, which sometimes it sounds weird. It sounds weird. But now, leave it. We go. Leave it. We go. So now, the major thing here is the Fibonacci sequence, and I have reminded you how we obtain the sequence. And another important thing on Fibonacci, we have something known as the Gordon ratio. The Gordon ratio. The Gordon ratio also, this a Gordon ratio exists in various natural systems. A Gordon ratio exists in various natural systems. So let's only discuss what is the Gordon ratio and how it is obtained. Actually, a Gordon ratio, how it is obtained, but mainly it comes from the sequence. A Gordon ratio is obtained from sequence. When you take maybe this number divided by the previous one, you get a Gordon ratio. Then you take maybe 2 divided by this one, you get a Gordon ratio. Now, in most cases, it is not exactly that Gordon ratio number in every number when you divide with another, but it may have some variability, but it don't deviate from that basic number. But now, those things, they are quite simple. They are quite simple. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Now, my concept here starts with the concept of, with the idea of Fibonacci levels. Fibonacci, what is called the Fibonacci levels. Fibonacci levels. It's where my target concept begins. Actually, my target was starting with the idea of Fibonacci levels. Now, what are the Fibonacci levels? And then we are talking about the Fibonacci levels in price chart. Specifically here we're talking about the price chart. Those levels may exist anywhere, but we are looking on price chart. Now in price chart, Fibonacci levels, we are talking about those areas where price can spend some time, or price may have difficulties to move, and finally may retrace or may pass with difficulties. Those are what called the Fibonacci levels. So now when you observe movement of price in the price chart, actually movement of the market in the price chart, you can find that there are certain areas where the market moves straight, but there are certain areas where the market may have difficulties passing those areas. So those areas where the market faces some difficulties to pass are what we call the Fibonacci levels. They are very key level. They are very key levels where price usually respects. So now we have two major categories of those levels, Fibonacci levels. We have two major categories of Fibonacci levels, whereby the first category we have those who call the retracement. We have those who call the retracement levels, and the second category we have those who call the projection level. We have the projection now. The projection levels. We have the projection level. Now, those are the major categorization. Actually, when we dig deeper, when we are going to see those things in detail, we'll find that there are subdivisions. We have subdivisions, but in a big picture, we'll have those two categorizations of Fibonacci level. We have two categorization of Fibonacci level. Now, what are those levels actually in terms of numbers? What are those levels in terms of numbers? Fibonacci levels, they are identified in terms of numbers. So Fibonacci level include things like, now they are different in terms of whether it is a retracement level or a projection level. The most common retracement levels include things like 50% retracement, Then we can have things like 61.8%. We can have a 78 or anything else. Then we have other levels, retracement levels. We have other levels that are below 50. It can be maybe 23% or anything else. No, now everybody knows those things. Everybody knows those things. We are going to see those things. What I need to introduce in detail is the things that are beyond the concepts that most of mentors teach. So now those levels, most of people actually they explain on the internet, so you can find them. What are the retracement and other things? But the projection levels, they are of two categories. Projection levels are of two categories. Now a projection can be in form of extension. A projection can be in form of extension. We have this we call the extension level. Then a projection can be in form of expansion. We have this we call expansion level. Then we have a retracement level. Now those two categories, all of them, they are belonging within a major category known as a projection level. All of them, they are belonging within what we call a projection level. So now things goes on. We're supposed to understand what are the retracement levels in detail. How can you get the retracement level in the market? How can you get a projection in terms of expansion and also in terms of extension? So maybe roughly the issues on projection levels. Projection levels can be things like 100%, or they can be beyond 100. It can be 123% or anything else. So they go on, but we'll discuss in detail when we're discussing about extension and expansion. We'll see what are the extension levels, what are the expansion levels, because there is a variation between extension levels and expansion levels. So we'll categorize them into specific groups and see whether this one belongs to expansion or extension. So something like that. Now let's go and start with retracement levels. We are looking on Fibonacci levels, and let's start with retracement levels. Now we have those called the retracement. We have those called the retracement levels. Now what are the retracement levels? Now when we're talking about a retrace means the counter trend. The counter trend. A movement of price against the major trend, or sometimes we can say a primary trend. A counter trend or a retracement is the movement of price against the primary trend. So retracement levels, we measure them against the movement against the high degree trend. So how can you measure those retracement levels? How can you measure those counter trend movements? Those counter trend movements can be measured based on a trend. It can be in a downtrend or in uptrend. Now let's see, maybe if it is an uptrend, how can you measure it? Uptrend. How can you measure a retracement in an uptrend? Now in an uptrend mainly, and now in a basic concept, something that you must understand, a retracement is obtained only by having 2 points. You only need 2 points to measure a retracement. So retracement in an uptrend will be obtained by taking a prior low. Is obtained by taking a prior low to the high. You take a low to the high. That's how we are going to obtain a retracement in an uptrend. We take a previous, now we can call it this as a previous low to the high. A previous low to the high is where you will obtain a retracement level. Now we'll go to trading view. Now I'll take you directly to trading view to see the real environment on how you can play or you can use a Fibonacci tool. How you will use it, we'll see in trading view there. Then in downtrend, another thing there, in downtrend it will be a vice versa. Now it will be a vice versa. You'll take a prior high, to low, Now this will be vice versa. A prior high to low is where is how you are going to obtain a retracement level in a downtrend. a retracement level in a downtrend. And now, what are the major key areas where those levels are expected to be? We have many levels, but if you're talking about retracement, actually we can have specific levels for retracement, and if it is projection, have got specific levels, but in general levels there are too many. So now for those retracement levels, retracement level can be something like 23.6%. It can be a 23.6%, and also we can have things like 38.2%. Then we can have a 50%. There are a lot of them. 50%. We can have maybe 61.8%. So things goes on, and the maximum of retracement. A maximum of retracement is a 99%. This is the maximum. A maximum is 99%. Whereby this is rarely. It is now, in a few cases, this one is obtained in wave number 2. For those who are trading wave principle, because this Fibonacci tool can be used by any kind of trader who is using maybe a wave principle, using a pure price action or anything else. So for those who are using a wave principle, they can incorporate informations from Fibonacci. Having this will be usually in a wave number 2. So now things goes on. Those are some of the major retracement levels. So when the price retraces, we expect it to see it around those areas. So now let's go to the trading view. Let's go to the trading view. Now this one is trading view. So now what I need to show you here is on how you can obtain those retracement levels. This is very basic thing. It is a very basic thing, very common, everybody knows. But to have things like extension and expansion, those are very rare. There are very few people who know the issues on extension and expansion. So in a retracement, it's very common. Most people, when they are using Fibonacci tool, they know to measure a retracement level only in most of cases. So now a retracement, how will you obtain it? How will you obtain a retracement? Now let us assume in an uptrend, a market is moving in an uptrend. So when we have this scenario of an uptrend, now yes, this is the full movement, because we can have an incomplete movement, but let's say we have this a complete movement, because the case here is to understand how to take those measurements. So in order to measure a retracement, because our primary trend is up, so retracement is all about the counter trends. Counter trends. We have a counter trend here, we have a counter trend here. So retracements are measured on those counter trends. So how can you measure this counter trend, a retracement from this counter trend, and how you can measure this? So now you'll take a retracement tool, a Fibonacci tool, retracement tool. Mainly you concentrate with a retracement tool. Now clicking this tool, now we can do this. Let me do this. Now clicking this retracement tool. Now I have said that in an uptrend, now retracement is obtained by taking the prior low to the high. So you'll put this line at the beginning of this market move, and then you will go with it. You drag this straight. So it depends on, maybe you are using an MT4 or you are using a trading view. In trading view, it is very simple. Movement in trading view is very simple. Tools are moving very free. But in MT4 you have to drag this. But in trading view, it holds by itself automatically. So you'll push it up to this high. Then clicking there, you will have those readings there. You have those readings down there. So those readings are the retracement levels. Those readings here are the retracement levels. Now we said that retracement can be something like 23%, can be 50%, can be 61.8, 78. So now example here, our retracement is around 61.8, and it is between 61.8 and 78. It is between 61.8 and 78. or totally it can be maybe 61 if maybe there are wicks there or anything else. So mainly if you have a wick there, it will be maybe a 61%. And when we say a 61%, if you need to understand those an exact number. This one is 61%. An exact number is what we call a 0.618. An exact number is a 0.618, and this one is 50%. This is what we call a 0.5. It is a 0.5. So there are various readings. You can read in terms of those digits or in terms of those percentage and other things. So this is how you will obtain a retracement. So this one is deep. This one is deep. For those who know the wave principle, for those who apply the wave principle, I'm sure they know. Wave number 2 is usually very deep. So here, if you want to make the counts, here will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, then 4, finally 5 to the top. So you can measure retracement in wave number 4 also. You can measure retracement in the 4th wave, whereby in the 4th wave, you will take the low, the beginning of the 3rd wave to that high. So this was too shallow. It was too shallow. Here is a 38. So it is too shallow. It is around 14, because the retracement actually we can have shallow, the most shallow, it may be 14%. And then the next one can be 23. Then after 23, we may have 38. So in most cases, a shallow retracement can be seen from 38, but sometimes you can find them at 23 or at 14%. So we are through with the retracement. I'm sure everybody have got me about the issues on retracement. So that's how you are going to do. And in downtrend also you do the same thing. In downtrend also you do the same thing. So let's go to the next thing, which is projection levels. We are through with the retracement. Let's go to the projection levels. Let us see projection, or those who call the projection levels. Projection levels. Because we said that actually I said we have two types of levels. It can be retracement or projection. And then within projection we said we have two. I said we have two. We have things like it. Now it may be an extension level. It can be an extension level. It can be an extension level, or it can be an expansion or expansion level. Well, this we call it as an expansion level. So now we are going to see what is extension and what is expansion, and how you can obtain this in the market. How you can measure extension and how you can measure expansion. We are going to see them. So now let's start with the projection level. Let's start with let's start with between extension and expansion. Let's start with extension now. Let's start with extension, because all of them they are within the projection. So let's start with extension. Now, what is extension level and how you are going to obtain it? Now, mainly an extension or projection in general. Projection, it is concerned with measuring the future, or it is anticipating the future move. We anticipate those who call the points at which the market is expected to land on. It has not yet arrived at those points. So by using projection tool, you can anticipate those major areas where the market is expected to land on, or it may turn on those areas. So now extension also, extension, it means it has the same thing to do as it is within a projection. Within projection and expansion also, it has the same thing to do. They have a role of anticipating the future move. So now, when understanding the future move, you can anticipate in different ways, depending on whether you are using extension or expansion. Now let us see if you are using extension. If you are using extension, actually it will involve three major points. Now, to understand an extension, you must have three. How this one involve 3 points involve 3 key points. You need to have 3 key points. Now, those are points within a market structure, points within a market move. We need 3 points within a market move. So now, after having those 3 points, they can be within an uptrend, now can be within an uptrend, or can be within downtrend. Now those 3 points can be within uptrend or can be within downtrend. Now if it is an uptrend, how are we going to do this? And if it is a downtrend, how are we going to obtain it? So in uptrend, usually we have said that we need 3 points. We need 3 points. Now we need the first point, which is low. Now we will measure extension in an uptrend by taking the prior low. We are taking the low to the high. We are taking low to the high in the projection of the new low. Now this will be in the projection of the new low. We are taking a new low to the high in the projection. Now this will be in the projection. Now I can write this in the projection of new low. In projection of a new low. So we have 3 points. The first one is a low, that is the prior low, to the high, this is the second, and then to the low, this will be the third. So now this one, the third one will be the last touch. This will be the last touch. So when you touch this one, your extension tool will give readings. When you touch the third point, your extension tool will give you readings. So those readings are what you call the extension levels. So now we'll go to see on TradingView how we can carry this. We'll see on TradingView how to take this. And then in downtrend, it will be vice versa. In downtrend, it is vice versa, whereby you'll take a prior high to the low, in the projection. Now prior high to the low, now this will be in the projection from a new high. Now maybe you can say this high to low projecting. Now it is projecting from it is projecting now from new high, projecting from new high. So even here it's supposed to be, we remove this. Now it is low to high, projecting from new low. So here it is high to low, projecting from new high. So that's how we are going to take those projection levels. That's how we are going to carry out the projection levels. Now let's see on TradingView. Now yes, we already have these counts. We already have those things there. So I can remove maybe those retracements. Our major trend, let's take a scenario of an uptrend. Our scenario here is an uptrend. So if the market is in an uptrend and you want to measure an expansion, you'll need 3 points. So here is a complete movement. So those measurements in expansion or extension, you are going to do them when you need to anticipate the future move. A future move in a direction of a particular trend. So you'll be anticipating those areas that the market has not yet touched. So here we're just looking on application, the applicability of the tool. But when you are applying in the market, you will apply on those areas where the market has not touched. So now extension needs 3 points. We need 3 points. So now you'll use extension tool here. You'll use an extension tool. So an extension tool, clicking on extension tool, our trend is up. And I have said in an uptrend, you need a previous low. This one, a previous low. You click there. Then you take it. If it is in TradingView, you just scroll as usual. I mean, it is just moving your mouse as usual. But if it is on MT4 you have to drag it. On MT4 you have to drag. So you will click the high. Our first point was this low to the high, then projecting from a new low. This one is a new low. You project it from a new low like this. Yeah. So assuming that this third wave was not yet completed, assume that this third wave was not yet completed. So your projection will be, maybe you have the second wave, then let's say the third wave is now developing here. The third wave, let's say, is developing here. So when this third wave is developing, you can use an extension tool to anticipate the areas where this third wave is going to end. So you will run extension tool by taking this low to the high to this new low. Then those readings there, those are the areas that the third wave is expected to end. So this one, third wave will develop. So it can be extension. It can be up to it can be 1, it can be 1, 2, 3, it can be 1, 6 or anything else. So it can extend to any level. So that's the purpose of running an extension tool. So our third wave here was between 1 and 1, 2, 3. Between 1 and 1, 2, 3. So it was within those key levels. Those key level in an extension. Extension include things like 0, 61.8, it can be 100, it can be 1, 2, 3, it can be 161. So there are many extension levels. So this was within our key levels. And extension will depend on whether you are extending in a third wave, in a maybe in a fifth wave, or maybe in corrective structures like in zigzag. Maybe you are measuring extension of the of wave C or anything else. So every wave have got its own characteristics as to which it's going to extend. So we are through with extension now. In downtrend will be a vice versa. In downtrend is a vice versa, but all principles will remain the same. Now let us see the last thing. Let us see the last thing. The last thing here is expansion. The last thing is expansion. This is very simple. Expansion now. Expansion. I'm using red ink. Expansion now. It is in red ink. No problem with this. There's no problem with the color of the ink. Now this involves two key points. Now expansion is different from extension. Now expansion mainly involve only two key points. So this need only 2 points. It need only 2 points. Those are the points within the price chart. Those are the points within the price chart. So it needs only 2 points within the price chart. And also it can be taken as usual. This one as usual. It can be taken in uptrend. It can be taken in uptrend, and also can be taken in downtrend. So in any direction of the market, you can take an expansion tool. So the key point here will be understanding on how you can carry out in an uptrend and how you can carry out in a downtrend. So in an uptrend, we need only 2 points. So if it is an uptrend, you will take a high, the prior high to the low. You will take a prior high to the low. Now this prior high to the low, you will be looking for the new high. Now prior high to the low, looking for, now I can write this, looking for new high, for a new high, because our trend is up. So we'll be looking for the future move in the direction of that particular trend. A future move in an uptrend will be a new high. So that's how you are going to carry it on in an uptrend. So then if it is downtrend, it will be vice versa. If it was high, now here will be low. It will be taken from a low to the high, from a low to the high, looking for a new low. Here will be looking for a new low. We are looking for a new low because a new low will be a future move in the market. A new low will be a future move in a market which is moving in a downtrend. So by using expansion or extension tool will help you to recognize those exit points, those points where you can put your take profits. You will use expansion or extension tool, and those areas where you have to put a stop loss usually is it is obtained by using retracement tool, which is mostly used by traders, a retracement tool. So now the key levels, one important thing here to notice, key levels in expansion, they are above, actually they are above 100%. Key levels, the key levels in expansion, they are above 100, but in extension they can be below 100. It can be something like a 0.618. This one is below 100, but it is within extension. But expansion, it must have 100 and above. So it can be 100, it can be maybe 123, it can be 161, maximum I think 200. Sometimes it can be seen up to 200. But extension, it's very rare to see extension of 200. Extension in most of cases can be a 1.618. A 1.618 usually. This looks like to be the maximum in extension, but in expansion it goes up to 200, and it begins with 100. Cannot be less than 100, but extension can be less than 100. So now, how are you going to get those measurements? Let's go to the market. How can you measure expansion? Now, measuring expansion, you use a retracement tool. Now to measure expansion. Now, clicking on a retracement tool, now our trend is up. As usual. We're looking at this scenario of an uptrend. Now, the principle is, in an uptrend, you will take a high to the low. Now, let's say the market development is within 1, 2. So it is carrying on with 3 to the top. So it is forming the third wave. Now, we need to anticipate where the third wave is going to end. So in order to get that point, we're supposed to hit this high, then we'll drag it to the low. To this low here. We'll drag it to this low here. So now, after hitting this and this point, an expansion tool will give us readings. So now you'll find that example in our scenario here, the third wave ended at 161.8%. A 161.8%. So usually it can be 161, it can be up to 200, and also it can be maybe 0. No, it cannot be 0. It can be maybe 1. That is 100 now. A 1.0. 1.0 it is equal to 100%. But it cannot be less than 100%. So now this will also give you anticipation on where the market is expected to turn, because those Fibonacci levels, as I said in the beginning, these are the areas where the market is expected to spend some time. So sometimes it can reverse on those areas, or it may pass with difficulties. So those are what we call the Fibonacci levels. So we have seen this in a very straight way, just in a very straightforward way. But the purpose here, the purpose of this session, as the title it was, our title is Fibonacci Trading Setup. Our title is Fibonacci Trading Setup. So if it is Fibonacci Trading Setup, so the purpose is to understand on how you will use a Fibonacci tool in trading. That's the goal. To understand on how you will use a Fibonacci tool on having a trading setup in the market. So today this is like part 1, or the first part of Fibonacci trading setup. So we will have a second part. Where we'll go in detail on how those identified levels can be used as a guide in making decisions in the market. That's how you are going to obtain a setup. It is when those levels gives you decisions. If you measure maybe a retracement and obtain maybe a retracement of let's say it is 78%. So how may you decide to make trading to take a trade after having that 78% maybe retracement? So it's what we call a Fibonacci trading setup. So for today is over. For today is over. Enough is enough. Enough is enough because the time has gone. Now it is yes. We have already passed the midnight. It's around the midnight now. So it's over. It's over. So next time now, the next session, that will be something deeper. We are going to see things in detail now in the next session. So in the next session, I expect the coverage or the major title will be using Fibonacci tool. Now I just gave you the highlight. Using Fibo tool. How to use this tool to make trading decisions using Fibonacci tool. That's the next session, using Fibonacci tool. So in using Fibonacci tool, we'll cover things like, now this is just the highlight. In order for everyone to keep in touch with the next session, you have to keep in touch. Make sure that you subscribe in order to get notifications when we upload the next session. So we look things like Fibo convergence. We look things like Fibonacci convergence. Those are the things that most traders, they don't apply. They know retracement, that's all about Fibonacci. Or sometimes they may know about extension, and maybe without understanding categorization of those extensions or projection or what. So we'll see things like in the next session, we'll see things like Fibonacci convergence. We'll cover the idea of high probability setup. High probability setup. It is high probability setup by using Fibonacci tool. High probability setup by using Fibonacci tool. Whereby this high probability setup, it has got like categorizations. It has got categorization. So in those categorizations, we'll cover things like symmetry, two-step verifications. We'll cover things like Fibonacci cluster. So there are many things actually in a high probability setup. So all of them will be discussed in detail in the coming session. And the last thing here on using Fibonacci, we'll cover the idea of ratio analysis and Fibonacci time sequence. Ratio analysis. We'll cover the idea of ratio analysis and Fibonacci time sequence. In the ratio analysis, we'll cover things like retracement ratios, and we'll cover things like the multiple ratios. We have two things here. We'll have retracement and multiple ratios. So now all of them will be covered in the coming sessions, but I was just introducing in order to give you an awareness that we have not covered a lot on Fibonacci. We have not covered a lot. We still have some things to cover later. So in the next sessions, we have 3 major contents that have got sub-contents in it. So we'll have this session, probably it depends on blessings. It depends on blessings, on how I will be blessed. So if I will be blessed a lot, maybe in the middle of the week, I can record this in the mid. If maybe till the end of the week also, I can record maybe on the end or by the end of the week. So for today is enough. Thank you for your time, and mainly remember, you have to subscribe this channel. Subscribe in order to get notifications, and also share videos, put your comments, your suggestions. Remember to put your suggestions there. They are very important. Comments are very important. Also like this video. You have to like this video also. So thank you for your time and have a nice time.